All right, welcome back to the Philly Escape Podcast, episode 37, because the original 37 is a lost episode, never to be found again.
It's a
We're
tragedy.
talking
It's a
about
tragedy.
Eagles Bears post game. We're going to use that as an opener, okay, boys? So we'll kind of go around the room, do some key takeaways from the game, not dive too deep into that because we got to address the elephant in the room being Jalen Hurts injury. Is it serious? Are we looking too much into it? Are we not looking into it enough? Let's talk about it. Um, but then we'll go into Dallas. It's Dallas week. Let's break it down. What are the keys to winning the game? Assuming that Minshew mania is going to be the storyline here. So let's open it up. Harsh is, I think, too excited for that. Let's open it up to you guys. Okay, so Bears game, right? So it was a tough win. So I think my question to you guys is, what did you guys still like from this game, knowing that it was a tough win? Obviously, weather had an impact here. It was ridiculously cold, harder to catch the ball for the receivers. Still, big passing numbers by Jalen, 315 yards on the day. Obviously, the 3 rushing touchdowns, 17 carries, 61 rushing yards for Jalen. He did most of the legwork there, literally. Um, just couldn't get or maybe didn't even attempt it with Miles Sanders. Um, and then just looking at some of the other stats here, just I think 3 sacks from Reddick, bunch of sacks from the defensive line, them doing what they've been doing, this past month in football. So let's go around the room. What did you guys like from this game? And was this one of the first games where you didn't like something coming from this game?
Uh, I'll let you guys start. I'll let you guys start. One of you start, because I have a lot. I have
We
something to say, and I want to see if you guys say the
This has
same
a
thing.
lot to say. Okay.
Well, I'll point out the
All
one
right.
negative thing that you kind of just brought up was that I feel like the Birds this game did what they always do, which is in a close game just pass the ball nonstop and not really uh give Miles Sanders any carries. I don't know. I would like to see him get more carries in close games. I feel like whenever it's close, we lean on the passing game, and it just rained true again against the Bears.
Harsh, any thoughts on that?
I mean, we like look, I at the risk of sounding like I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but I'm trying to avoid the Debbie Downer attitudes because like we won, right? Like we're one more win away from going home field advantage. And no, like I'll go on record right now and saying no team in the NFC wants to come to Philadelphia when it's freezing cold in the winter and play against the Eagles at the Link, right? Like that's what we're
That's a
working
fact.
towards, right?
It's,
And
it's
like
another cold. It's a different cold, but it is. Yeah.
it
Okay.
it's a different cold, and then you got Eagles fans like telling you to like that pelting snow was like all I'm saying is like playoff link is different than regular season link, and we are one more win away from guaranteeing at least one, should be two home playoff games, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with the fact that this game was an ugly win, right? Because I think this team showed, I think it started with the Indianapolis game, but then also with this game, it's like, look, if you want us to get down and win ugly, we can do that, right? I think it's to Britt, I think Britt, you brought it up, which was, or Jackson, sorry, you brought up, which was our defensive line is just that good, right? Like I think what was it, out of like the top, I think it was like the top 4 or 5 guys, they're all above 5 sacks
Yeah.
right now,
Right.
Is
All
which
Dean
is
all
Peterson?
like,
almost
They're
in
all
the
above
double
8
digits. Right.
sacks.
there. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, the newest number is about 8 sacks. So like, we can win ugly because we're that good in the trenches and we're healthy. So I'm good. I mean, do I want to beat the Bears by more? Sure, but winning the NFL is not guaranteed. So we're one more win away from getting at least one, possibly two home playoff games.
Yeah. I think the takeaway for me is, I'm in agreement with you guys, right? A win's a win. Absolutely. I think the rushing attempts with Jalen is concerning, but it's not something that's totally brand new, at least to this group, because we talked about how concerned we are if Jalen gets into the 15 to 17 carries, just some of the runs that he makes, higher probability of getting hurt. And obviously, in this case, sprained shoulder. Don't know how serious it is quite yet. The way he's talking in the press conference, he might be able to play this week. I don't think it's going to happen. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think this team has done such a good job in scheming week to week on how to win against different teams. And I think, the game plan was to be heavy on the run this week against the Bears, especially in these weather conditions. So I'm just surprised by the amount of attempts running, by Jalen and not, the play calling for Miles.
Yeah.
Am I disappointed in putting a lot of blame on Sirianni for this type of injury? No, I'm not going to go that far because we've done this in plenty of other games where Jalen has run a lot. Also heard that Jalen, made a lot of these audibles to switch to a QB play design, run design. So not putting a lot of blame on the coaching, but I would wish to see, more Miles Sanders, especially with how good of a season he's having this year.
So basically, what Harsh said, a win in the NFL is not guaranteed. It's hard to beat any single team. Basically, what I want to start with is the Bears came to play today or Sunday, and it was very apparent. It was probably one of the best games the Bears played all year. If you look at if you watch Bears games, I've caught a few of them. Like their defense does not play like that at all. And our offensive line was having big struggles, and I think it's what caused both of those interceptions was the pressure because Jalen looked like he was seeing something that or not seeing something that the Bears were disguising, and he was just throwing the ball in just ridiculous spots. It seemed for both of those interceptions. And one thing that I will say is that after those two interceptions, and then obviously there was a bad fumble by Miles, which is his first of the year, which is crazy. I didn't even know that he hasn't fumbled all year.
Yeah.
Jalen looked like he was he figured out that defense within a quarter. After the first two interceptions, he was reading them. I don't know if this play was designed or if Jalen just read it. But when he ran that 20-yard rush into the end zone when there was literally nobody in the middle of the field, if he read that safety blitzing, that's like a veteran quarterback move to know that guy's just coming at him and there's gonna be nobody there. Because you guys, I don't know if you guys saw that, but that safety was sprinting at him. And anytime a safety does that, usually he's going to back up. He's just faking he's
Great. It's a disguise blitz, right?
Yeah.
He came and Jalen was like, all right, you're gonna come. It's either gonna be 1-on-1 or you're not gonna be there. So
well,
that
to your
hole
point,
opens up.
I think it's a perfect read. Even if he does back up, Jalen can beat one guy. Yeah,
exactly. So that was impressive to me. And then on the defensive side of the ball, obviously the defensive line played incredible. I mean, literally looked like they were getting pressure on every single play. And I think we ended up with 6 or 7 sacks.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Ridiculous.
And
3 for Reddick. Yeah.
And there was one play that annoyed me, and it was the blitz. And it was the blitz on the play, and I said it to myself. I was watching it with my brother. I was like, "Oh no, we're blitzing here." And we blitzed, and Justin Fields breaks out on that crazy run around where he ends up throwing the touchdown at the end of the game. And I was like, "Why do we blitz? Why are we blitzing? We don't need the blitz." We had 6 sacks at that point. What are we blitzing for? This
second
is
and 27.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You drop back in cover. Can you play the marker? You don't freaking blitz.
So I thought that was an oversight. Maybe we're just trying to ice the game or something. So I was I didn't like that. But that's kind of nitpicking, with most of those things I just said. But no, I'm just happy that we figured out how to win a game once again. I mean, 13-1 it's really hard to look at your team and be like, what's going wrong when you're 13-1. So I mean, that's really the only thing I saw that was bad from the game.
I mean, I think the Bears played up and we played down, right? And we still won. I mean, they won the turnover game. They had 2 picks, a fumble. I think we had 1 forced fumble against them. So for any other team, usually that puts you in the loss column for the day.
Wait, did you guys see that fumble? The fumble recovery we got? How that ball bounced? That ball was going so fast towards the out of bounds marker, and then just popped up. And just I was like, holy shit! How did that ball not go out of bounds?
That was a bird's bounce if I ever seen it. But I mean, a lot of these plays too, right? I mean, the Bears had almost the same amount of rushing yards as passing yards, 157 to 152, more than passing yards that they had. So a lot of these missed tackles that could have been sacks on Fields, he broke for 20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
So you got to play with, take it with context here too, because it is Justin Fields and, he had 95 rushing yards on the day, the most of the team he had, but they played up. I mean, he does not have receivers. His top receiver was done on the first series. I mean, they were so banged up all day. Got to give credit to the Bears here. But I think even with the Eagles having a bad day, they're showing you how much talent they do have just to get the win either way.
Yep.
And that's a sign of a good team, though. It's like
Right.
even when your best guys are not there, you still are good enough to win, right? And like if we're real, like, and I hate to be the guy, like I hate to be the guy that says this, but if I'm looking at the playoffs picture right now, okay, it's us, the Vikings. Like Kirk Cousins doesn't scare me. Like Kirk Cousins is going to
Does
Kirk
not
Cousins.
scare me at all.
We've already
Yeah.
seen
Not
him.
after our week 2 game against them.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, exactly. And then, okay, so Brock Purdy's starting for the 49ers. All right, we'll see what he has. We don't know him yet. Dak and the Cowboys, that's another one. I mean, Dak's not a Justin Fields, but he is mobile. If the Bucks make it, all right, Brady's Brady. I'm not even going to go anywhere near that. He can beat anyone on any given day. Daniel Jones for the Giants is an underrated rusher, but again, he doesn't scare me. If the Commanders make it and we have to play them, okay, we play Wentz or Taylor Heineke. Like to the point of like good, like are we going to see a good rushing quarterback after this game? Probably not. Like the best rushing quarterback we're going to see is probably Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott does not scare me.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't even run anymore either. Like he's kind of gotten away from that.
Yeah, he really doesn't. Probably ever since the injury.
Yeah.
I feel like for that to be like one of our major flaws on defense, it's not a big deal. And also,
it's a flaw for
Justin
every
Fields
defense.
looks
It's a hard thing to
Justin Fields
account for.
Yeah, because like, what are you gonna dedicate one guy to be like the spy the entire time? I don't know, but like, I feel like Justin Fields also looks like he's potentially going to be the best rushing QB like of all time or something. He's so elusive and he's amazing at breaking tackles. I just don't think.
I think he broke he's the third quarterback ever to rush for 1,000 yards with Michael Vick and Lamar.
Yeah.
So
he just looks unbelievable when he rushes. He's
going
to get his, and I don't think anybody's going to stop him.
But he is still one dimensional. He working towards becoming 2-dimensional.
He's like Jalen Hurts was last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But he does have the potential to do what Jalen is doing.
I think he's going to be a really
good
quarterback.
He does need a supporting. He needs a supporting cast though. So the Bears. I really hope the Bears turn that team around to help him out.
Yeah.
He might be my keeper. Who knows? He might be my fantasy keeper. I don't know.
Why not at this point?
He's so good. He definitely would be
not a bad keeper to have him late.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the injury and let's start with this. I kind of alluded to it, just touched on it a little bit.
Can we somehow wrap in the Micah Parsons talk with the injury, because I feel like we have to address that, especially in lieu of the Cowboys game coming up. I think that wraps into the injury.
Let's address that, but let's first touch on kind of how the injury applies to the Bears context. But when we look ahead to Dallas, that'll be a good transition, because I do want to touch on Micah's comments, and then also just looking ahead next week at the injury. I hate to see Jalen not playing this game, just because I wanted him to play so bad to shut that team up. But okay, so let's talk about the injury a little bit. Shoulder sprain, chances that he will play on Sunday. Looking at the Bears game and how we called this game, do you guys assign any blame, or is this just a freak thing? It happens. It's NFL football.
I think it's
welcome to football in December. Everybody's banged up. Like guys get banged up.
Right. I mean, what are you gonna do? Say like, oh, Steichen, oh, Sirianni, why are you running Jalen that much? We've been doing it all year, and it's one of his 13 games. So it's like it's so hard to say that.
Right.
I mean, the problem is Jalen's been doing that, but also we've been getting Miles Sanders involved. He wasn't really involved at all in this game. No, I wouldn't say it at all, but he got a little bit in the last part of the game. But I would have liked to see Miles like at least start out rushing, and maybe he was having a bad game or something, and then we went to Jalen. Like I don't know. It's tough to say, but it's like I said, it's 15 rushes a game. We've done it 5 or 6 times this year, and we've won 13 games. So
yeah,
I think the worst thing that could happen or could come from this situation would be us telling Jalen to stop running, calling less running plays for him, and sort of trying to transition him into being
100%.
a pocket passer. It's like that's what he does. That's what he's good at.
But he
and I
can
think we
do
just have to live
both.
with it.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's one thing I disagree a little bit with. I think he
Absolutely,
is
well,
still
absolutely,
still
he's
a
good in the
pocket
pocket,
passer though.
but like,
Yeah.
if you told him to only stay in the pocket and stop rushing, he would
Yeah.
become way more one-dimensional. I don't think
I
100%.
that's a
agree.
smart
Yes.
move.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, no, I'm in agreement there. I can't. I don't want to assign blame, but it's. I think we'll talk a little bit more on strategy. But what were you going to say, Harsha?
I was gonna say with Jalen, right? Like 15 carries a game, like that's 15 more chances of risking him getting an injury, right? So like, yeah, I'm not gonna blame Steichen or Sirianni. Like we got the win, right? Like you can't argue with it. But what I like us to use our running backs more with those carries
Right.
instead of seeing Jalen take those hits. Like yeah, like that.
Right.
I'm a fan. That's natural. I want to see my quarterback, who's exponentially more important than a running back, be running my team in the playoffs, right? And a guy who should be NFL MVP this year. I don't know what the NFL is going to do, but I mean, the guy's been a monster. Like you're I think like, and with Jalen, right? Like that transition we talked about. So like when we first got him, the rushing quarterback was like my biggest worry with him, right? But he was going to take a hit and do that, right? But like if we look at his rushes, guys, like I think up until this game, I don't remember a time where he's truly been clocked, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
there's
I
been a,
can't,
He's very good at
I
avoiding those.
I
yeah,
He's
agree.
so aware of what's going on around him. I
I
feel like
agree
And
he's
with your point.
this wasn't even like a big hit. It was more of just the way the
nah,
guy landed on him, you know?
exactly. So it's a freak of nature type play, right? So like I think his
That could happen in the
progression as
pocket,
a
you know?
it's so to that point, his like I am more comfortable with Jalen this year beating a team in the playoffs from the pocket based on what we said earlier, which is he's able to make those veteran reads, right? So like safety coming out of the box charging, okay, now I'm gonna go. That's when I use my running ability, right? But if the safety stays back, I feel more comfortable with Jalen picking somebody apart from the pocket. So
Yeah.
that's the point. That shit happens. Like
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be fine. We win one game, we get the number one seed in the division. That's all I'm focused on right now.
Right.
well, for me, I feel like the major thing when I heard the major like emotion that I felt when I heard the news that he was hurt was just like disappointment, because I feel like this Cowboys game was like almost going to be like as big as the Super Bowl. I was like
Yeah.
so
Yep.
stoked to
Christmas
watch
Eve,
it.
man.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know,
Jackson, that's a hot
not as
take.
big as the
No,
Super
That's a
Bowl,
hot
not as
take.
big as Super, but like it was
well,
just freaking
well,
dope. It
I
was like
know what he
yeah.
means though. Like I
I
mean,
feel
this
like
is
Yeah.
Christmas Eve. Like
Cowboys.
everybody's gonna be watching. Like, you know.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
exactly. It's
fine.
Christmas Eve. Cowboys have been amazing all year. Eagles have been amazing all year. The first time we play
Showdown.
them, they have to start Cooper Rush, so it's like disappointment. And then
Right.
it's like, okay, all year they're talking trash, talking trash. They're better than us. The media, despite us having like so many more wins than they do and like such a better record, they continually put them above us, and like I feel like they're putting them even further above us now, which doesn't make any sense. And then now we have to play them without Jalen Hurts. I still think we can win,
But there's no
honestly,
way they put us.
with
Wait,
Minshew.
did they put them? Did they up their chances after
Yeah,
this?
I,
After the
they
loss?
put them to number 1 and they put us to
Yeah.
number 5, I saw, which makes no sense to me.
Well,
So like
because
just the
Jalen
fact that
like bruised his shoulder. Like what?
yeah, the fact that we can't go down there and just whoop their ass with Jalen and show everybody that we're the better team is just disappointing to me. That's my main thing. I think he's gonna get
no.
better. I
Yeah.
think he could get hurt this game, so we can't start him. But I just wish we could see this game happen the way it should have happened.
I
So
And
agree.
and
so let's
that's
yeah. Go
playing the
ahead.
longer term
Yep.
picture. If you don't start him in this game, just be like, all right, we'll go with Minshew Mania. We get the win, fine. If we don't, we've got New Orleans and the Giants, right? Give Jalen a week, rest him up, get a win against one of those two teams, and then you get the starters out, and that way we're ready to roll for the playoffs.
That's
Like,
that's how you
So
got
cool,
to do
so
it.
yeah.
let them talk. Let them
So
talk. Like
so
I don't
that is
honestly
your
don't
yeah.
care if Dallas talks. Go ahead.
So
Sorry. Go
so no. I mean, this provides for a good transition and what I
ahead.
wanted to get into next. What's the strategy with Jalen? Let's say Jalen himself says, "Coach, put me in there. I'm healthy." His words,
Which
not
he's
a
gonna do.
doctor's.
He's gonna do that.
Which he's going to be the type of guy that does that because he wants to, prove his point, prove his worth, that he can beat Dallas. Let's say he's a healthy scratch. What is your strategy the rest of this year for these 3 games? I kind of heard it from Harsha and Jackson, but want
Well,
to hear it
actually,
from Brett.
Dude,
I want to determine the actual situation, because if he's a healthy scratch, I feel like I'm like I wouldn't put him as
You're
healthy
all in.
scratch. If he can play and there's no risk of him getting injured like further than like the risk would be of him being healthy, like if there's no additional risk, then I'm playing him all day. But like, is that the case or Is it like he's
Well,
actually
Let's say he thinks
or
he's
the risk
healthy,
percentage?
but there's still a slight risk factor in there because I
So
mean you're gonna
the
have
doctors are
like
saying there's a risk?
well I'm not sure, but I'm kind of
well,
playing
here's the thing.
hypothetical here.
I
Okay.
with
Yeah,
the
the
injury that he has, how could there possibly be a risk of injuring it more? It doesn't really make sense. Like was he going to injure it throwing? That doesn't seem right. I mean, it sounds like it's from what it looks like they're calling it a shoulder sprain. When I
Is
from
it
the
on his throwing shoulder?
yes,
It's his throwing shoulder, yeah.
Okay.
but we
Yeah,
That
but he
also
changes
can't.
the
watched him
plan. Okay, go
throw.
ahead.
We also watched him drop a couple good balls in with that shoulder in that game
But
after he got
there's
hurt.
The
something that
adrenaline playing though.
it's the adrenaline. Adrenaline has
You're
yeah,
right. That's
it
true.
can be a big factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I'm gonna jump in here and say something. So I didn't know it was throwing shoulder, and that changes my response here. So I would not risk him, right? And I will say this. So Jalen went for what 17, 65, 3 touchdowns. I think we all can agree that he rushed more than we would like him to, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
more carries and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's partially due to the fact that he knew, like, and I'm not saying like he was obviously dropping dimes and stuff like that, but like
No,
his
I don't think
arm
so.
wasn't at full strength, right? That's why he relied on the ground game more. If that's not the case, that's
Well,
fine.
didn't it
I am
happen in the
still of
third
the
quarter?
opinion. What was
Yeah, no,
that?
I don't think that had an impact on his decision making at all to run
Because it
versus
wasn't the
pass.
injury in the third
Okay.
quarter. So he had already rushed a good amount, and then
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
he also dropped. I mean, he threw
So
for I think another 68 yards after injury.
point noted. That's fine. My point is this: if there is a risk that he strains that throwing shoulder more, guys, we have this week. We have New Orleans. We have the Giants, and then we've got a bye week. Fingers crossed. We have a bye week, right? I would rather not risk it, right? Give him a week, let the shoulder heal up. He's got New Orleans and the Giants to get himself warm, and then if we get that bye, 2 out of the next 4 weeks, he's not going to be playing. I am absolutely fine with that because that's 2 out of 4 weeks. That's less carries and less risk for him. I want him healthy and ready to go for the playoffs because if we get in, we have a legitimate chance at a home NFC Championship game. Just because I want to shut up Dallas, right? I'm not going to risk my franchise quarterback.
no.
So
Here-
the follow up question there though is, do you have confidence that Gardner Minshew, looking at these 3 games, could get us one to get us that first
Yeah.
seed? Because okay,
Oh yeah.
Minshew's the best backup in the NFL. Like who's like
I'm
who's better
not
than Minshew right
disagreeing
now?
with that
Yeah.
either. So go ahead, Jackson.
He's a
I have one
starter.
thing that
He was a starter in Jacksonville in his 1 game. Like, what more do you want out? Like, I don't know. I think Minshew can get us at least 1 win in the next 3 games.
I think Minshew
Okay.
can beat Dallas, and I'm
Yeah,
not
I
just
agree with
saying that. I think there's a good
So
chance that we can beat Dallas.
let's hear Jackson's strategy and then we'll.
here's my thing because I totally agree with Harsha. I feel like against the Cowboys, you got to start Minshew, and I think Minshew honestly is, like you're saying, a really good backup, probably the best backup in the league, and I feel like he could probably start over like 10 quarterbacks in the league right now at least. I feel like he's kind of like Baker Mayfield sort of like tier, if that makes sense. But
Yep.
my one thing that I had concerns with, I don't know, I feel like this team coming out of the bye, we were just like not ourselves, and we had to play ourselves back into being ourselves. And it took, I felt like, until the fourth quarter of the Colts game before we actually started playing like ourselves again. And I'm just kind of worried that like if we don't get Jalen in to play the game
Of
before
course.
the playoffs start, that like we might not be
That's what I was
riding
gonna
like this
get
wave
into.
of success into the playoffs. Because I feel like there's something to say about like a hot team. Like sometimes like a team that's not even
Momentum.
that good gets hot and then they ride that streak in the playoffs. I want to just make
Very
sure that
true.
we're hot getting in the playoffs.
That's
I agree with that.
that's see that I didn't really get my point
Yeah.
in the first question, but like I think that's what I was most worried about. I I don't want Jalen to play this game if he's not 100%. If he is 100%, I want him to play this game like absolutely because I think him beating Dallas, if he beats Dallas, right? And then we don't have to play him for the last 2 weeks, that's completely different than him going and beating a shitty
It's
team
fair.
like the Saints or the Giants. You know what I'm saying? Because like we
It's
go
fair.
out, he goes
Yep.
out, proves himself
That's
against a not only a playoff team, a good playoff team. Goes out there and beats them in Dallas, and then comes and then rests himself for the rest of the year. That's so different than him missing the Dallas game, having to come back, maybe beat the Saints or the Giants, whatever ends up happening, and then going on a 2-week break or a 1 week, whatever the break is.
And there's something to be said about that, right, too, because to Jackson's point, after the bye week against Indy this year, resting players against Dallas last year before the playoffs started and that slow start against the Bucks in playoffs, I think there's something to be said specifically with this team about
Yeah.
having a hot momentum going into the playoffs. And I'm not saying you have to you play all your players in Giants week 17 or 18, but I think the strategy here is, purely from a risk standpoint, throw Gardner in there. We can test Jackson's theory to see if this team, with Gardner, which I think they can, get a win against Dallas, a nice gritty win. I'm there with you guys. I think you then see. I get your point about playing Jalen against a crappy team in the Saints, but I think that's where you really don't want to leave it to the Giants game to have to win that game.
Exactly.
To get that first seed. You need this first seed.
Yeah.
You need this.
We need this. Also, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to, probably should have interrupted even to say this. I
No,
shouldn't
go
be
ahead,
saying this at
keep
all.
going.
What I'm saying is, honestly, we play Jalen. We get as much out of Jalen as we can. And theoretically, if he sustains a career-ending injury, we just get that top 5 draft pick, and we just retool. I don't know. We're not necessarily.
All right, I'm gonna cut that out.
All right, yeah, we're gonna cut.
Yeah, we're gonna edit
What the
that
hell
out.
is wrong with
Oh.
you?
Yeah, I almost feel like
We
stopping the
boot him
pod.
from
That's
it?
I'm just kidding.
For the
I'm
rest
just
of the
kidding. It's
podcast.
just saying
Not
we
even-
can't risk it. We can't risk
not
I
it.
can't
even a-
believe you
franchise
just said
quarterback.
that.
not even a
Right,
good
Fritz,
joke.
motion
really.
to mute Jackson for the rest of the
We got
podcast.
top 5. We got a top 5
Yeah.
pick. We've got insurance. I'm just saying we have insurance if anything goes horrible.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
We're not locked into
Motion to
anything
mute
long term.
Jackson
Okay.
for the
You're
rest of
making
the
it
podcast.
worse.
That's
Not
good.
locked in
That's good.
anything
I
long
muted
term,
him.
I'm
I
saying.
muted him. So,
Oh my god.
you good? You coming good out of timeout? Are you okay? All right. Yeah.
What is wrong with you, dude?
Do I have to do it again?
Jesus.
Do you
I
want
did
another
mute you
Carson
for a
situation?
couple-
What's
I
wrong
did
with
mute
you?
for a couple seconds there. Just absolutely absurd. No,
Oh my-
but
you want our MVP
you-
to get hurt again. That's what you want.
No, I don't. I'm just saying if something happens. If something happens.
Bro, can someone boot this man
Wow.
from the podcast
No.
right now? Like,
and this is why I don't want to focus on making something that it's not, because I feel like this sprain isn't going to be that serious. I really don't.
No, it's
I
not.
really,
that
really
serious.
no, it's not. It's just you want him healthy and firing, because there are very few times where you have a team like this where you've got a quarterback who's like crushing his contract right now. And mind you, it's not his first round contract, it's a second round contract. You have a team built around him to win, right? And then also set up for the future. And then you also have him weapons, right? Like, if we look at the 2017 team, that team was not expected to make and win the Super Bowl, right? Like, we might have been a wild card team.
but
Like,
you're saying all these things. I totally agree. They're set up for the future. You have to win the Super Bowl this year.
oh, hell
because
yeah.
absolutely.
Without a question.
I mean,
You have to go for it.
Jalen could have career numbers, be the best franchise quarterback in all of Eagles history for 10 years plus, and we could still not win one Super Bowl because that's how football goes. So this year with this team, you have to. The expectation is Super Bowl to me.
Well,
Absolutely.
I feel like
It
Jalen,
is.
without a doubt, is never going to
hate
have
that,
the
though.
team built this well for the rest of
I
his
agree with
career. Having to spend $50 million a year on him for the rest of his career, that's just
Yes.
I feel like that's 3 really good players that we're just not having on the team for
Yep.
going forward, because it just in
Absolutely
place
right.
of him. And I feel like honestly it might be worth it because he's clearly talent-wise at least top 3 in the position, arguably at this point. So I don't know. I think it's worth it, but just I do think this is probably his best team he's going to have, and maybe his best chance to win it.
This is most certainly.
That's a hot take. That's a hot top 3 at the position right now.
I said arguably, but
Jalen,
yeah, I feel like
at the QB's position, he's.
I feel like Mahomes is better than him, and then I feel like at that point it's arguable that he could be better than anyone else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oof.
Do you
playing
have
better
something
than
to
them
say
right
about
now.
that?
He's playing better than
Yeah, I
Burrow and
mean-
Allen right now.
He is. He looks better.
He's had a more,
Jalen's
he's
not
had
just-
a more
Is that
complete
a hot
season
take?
than both
That's
of
really a
them.
hot take. He's Frankie
not
supposed
hot.
to be MVP right now.
I know. I want him as MVP, but Man, that is a hot take for me. I would put him like top 7, right? Like I don't know if I'd put him top 3.
I mean, I wouldn't fault you for that.
I would
Yeah.
I would absolutely by the end of this year, I would absolutely place Jalen the way he's playing now in the top 5 of the elite Burrow, Allen, Mahomes.
Let's be
He's
real here.
not he's
Let's be
he's
real
not
here.
Mahomes level. He's within that
We're
top
cutting
5.
we're cutting out Lamar and we're cutting out Herbert.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
just
Herbert,
about to
yeah,
say
no way.
Herbert. Yeah.
Herbert's had a bad season. He
He's
should
good.
pick
He
it back
hasn't had a
up,
bad
but
season, but he's like, I mean,
I
Well, because
mean,
they've been injured, like they've taken on ridiculous
Herbert's a
amounts of
good
injuries
player.
on that team.
Herbert's a really good quarterback, but
Yeah.
he has not had a season like Jalen is doing right now.
Okay.
No.
So if you're talking about this
Yeah.
season, all right, I can see the top 3
Yeah.
argument for Jalen Hurts. But if we're talking like overall body of work, like
well, of course. I mean, he's in his second year. We have a lot more to see, but the way he's
right.
playing, he's a three-dimensional player. He's got the arm, he's got the legs, and he's got the vision. And I think the vision is the most important part to me. The way he locates who he needs to throw to,
His
and a
it's
lot of those
slowing down for
explosive
him.
plays that he's had this year.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's
Maybe
slowing down for him. He's processing defenses a lot better than his first year.
He's also
100%
careful
agree
with
with
the
that.
ball. He's also really careful with the ball too, which is
Protects
like
the
Yep.
ball well.
I mean, he's had way less interceptions than both Allen and Mahomes. I understand they throw the ball a lot more. That obviously comes into consideration. But
Yeah.
I mean, but minus these 2 picks, he's had 3 picks all year. Besides these
I
2
think it's
games.
also better wide receivers to throw to too. That's helped him a lot.
Of course. But
Oh, I mean, like, are you just saying in general or compared to their guys? Because they got some guys on their teams too.
Well, I was saying just compared to like his first year,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Devontae Smith
100%.
was like the one. Now you got AJ Brown, you get Devontae Smith, you got Quez Watkins,
Yeah.
Goddard. Like, yeah, go.
Actually, I feel like I've got a good transition because I feel like these are all the sort of things that I was thinking of as to reasons why Micah Parsons' take was like ridiculous. Because I feel like in some ways what he said was like saying some guy who's like really good on like a darts team is good at playing darts this year because like the rest of his team is good at it. I feel like that in some ways
Well-
it just doesn't have any like effect because
Well,
and that is a terrible
that was a bad
like,
analogy,
metaphor.
but kind of
Bad analogy,
taking
but, like,
Mahomes off the team, it's not the same team. Is kind of the point that
Well-
he's making. That
what
you
I'm
know,
saying is like Jalen Hurts has improved in like things like throwing the deep ball and like cutting down on turnovers and like reading the defense. I feel like he's way better at reading the middle of the field. And like you could say, like Harsh is saying, that like the additions of AJ
Yeah.
Brown have like opened up like the routes for everybody. The field's more open for him to see at this point. But I feel like there's a lot he's made too many improvements in things that aren't related to like the play of the team because I feel like the line play has remained somewhat the same.
Listen,
And the only addition we've had is really adding AJ Brown, which is huge. It is huge.
Exactly.
AJ Brown's like one of the best receivers in the league. But I feel like his improvements are just they're clearly not just due to the addition of AJ Brown. And it's just like to say that he's like just playing well in the system, even
Yeah.
though like last year it was the same system basically and he didn't play this well, is just ridiculous.
well,
it's idiotic. It's terrible analysis, and I just don't understand why both can't be true at the same time. Because I hate this narrative of
They are
it's
both
the
true.
team, it's the team or the other. They it's not mutually exclusive. So, but go ahead, Brits.
well, here's the thing. I feel like people are misconstruing what we added to this offense. What we added to this offense is AJ Brown and Zach Pascal. That's it.
That's it.
That's
That's it.
the only 2 people that we've added as a weapon position.
And how many plays does Zach Pascal have in
0.
impact?
He's a
this
fourth
season?
receiver.
Right. So it's AJ Brown.
So AJ Brown. That's what we've added. We have a second year. We have Sirianni in his second year, which is huge. We've added Steichen. That's also huge. He's been a really good offensive coordinator. Obviously, Sirianni's gotten a lot better as a head coach in his second year. I mean, that's pretty much always happens with guys that are like, we knew he was a good offensive mind. And Jalen Hurts has become a much better player. I don't see how you can't see that. How
So
do
then you ask the question of what has changed from last year to this year. Pretty
It's
much the
Jalen
same team
Hurts.
except one player. Only other answer is Jalen Hurts.
Right. So
Plain
I
and
mean,
simple.
so when you throw AJ Brown onto I don't know, any other team
Right.
that's like stinks right now or like was like a middle of the pack. If you throw AJ Brown on the Giants, are they 13-1?
Is Daniel Jones
Is
making
Daniel,
those same
Jones the
throws?
MVP?
Nah.
I just wanted Bunny Caputi. Your one point about the only addition was Jalen Hurts. I agree with, but the only thing is that like you also like you were saying before, it is both like you also do have to acknowledge all the defensive additions that we've added, which are also in like being incorporated
Sure.
into that win total. But I feel like
Right, but we're also
on
the number one
offense, the
scoring
only thing is
offense in the
like
NFL.
on offense, the biggest thing to change was
Yeah.
just was just Jalen Hurts.
It's not like our record is the only reflection, though. We are the number one scoring offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like,
We're pretty much top 5 in all offensive categories, maybe except rushing and stuff like that. But even Miles is having a top 5 year. So yeah, it's all the above, right? But for anybody who doesn't see Jalen's massive improvement, should not be a football analyst. I'm sorry. Yeah, you should be fired, Chris Sims. You really should.
Chris
Chris Sims
Sims.
is absolutely blind, and I don't think he's watched like an Eagles game in the past like 7 years. What's going on? Can somebody explain that to me? Because it actually
No,
doesn't make
plain
sense.
plain and simple. He just had a really bad take because, again, to your point, he's blind and he's just trying to back that up in the light of Micah Parsons' comments. So he's just trying to use that as just a way to back up his argument, which is never sound in the beginning. But
Here's the thing, though. I feel like he had a bad take like 2 years ago, and like I feel like I've heard
he had a
him
chance.
go
He had
back
his
on
chance
that take.
to. Yeah.
I thought he went back on it, but he's doubled down on it and like tripled down on it now. It just doesn't make any sense. He's not watching the same Jalen Hurts as anybody else.
Let's talk about what Patrick Mahomes has on his team. He loses Tyreek
Yep.
Hill, right?
Yep.
I mean, Tyreek Hill's an outstanding, one of the best receivers to ever play the game, one of the fastest guys to be in the league, right? That's a huge loss, 100%. He has the best tight end probably ever. He has arguably probably the second best head coach ever. He has a great offensive line, and he has a stout defense that is probably like I would say they're probably top 10 right now. And
Chris Jones is really turning it on this year.
they added Juju Smith-Schuster, who's no slouch. They added Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who is a great deep threat. I mean, he's not going to replace Tyreek Hill, no, in no way, nobody can. But they replaced that need, and I mean,
Yep.
is he working with pebbles over there? Like, he has a great fucking team.
Chris, I don't want to hear
Yeah.
this argument. It's so dishonest because we all know that the Eagles roster, both on offense and defense, is head and shoulders above the Chiefs roster. It's no comparison.
Nah.
It's no comparison.
It's
Our
not- it-
offense, we have a better
But that's not
receiving
the
core.
point, Jackson. Jalen Hurts last year wasn't Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I agree. No, I
now
totally agree.
he is up there with. We're talking about him with Patrick Mahomes. Do you has he not? Is he the same quarterback as last year?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say to your point, like I don't know. I'm just saying the Eagles roster is better than the Chiefs roster. I don't know
I
what
agree
my
with
point in
that,
that is.
but-
But I'm just saying.
But I'm saying
head and shoulders
my point is
he's in better situation here. But
my
I
point
still
is
think
Patrick
he's
Mahomes' team is still an elite team. Like when you remove Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Obviously, he puts them at the top level, but every quarterback does that. You can't have a bad quarterback and be a top team. It's impossible.
Was Alex Smith not in the playoffs? 2017, the year. Right. They were one of the teams that beat us on that 13-3 season. I mean, Andy Reid does lift up these guys and turn them into something new. I'm not. I mean, obviously, Patrick Mahomes has pure raw talent, unlike anybody we've probably ever seen in the game.
Right, and I'm not taking that away from him. I love Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think he might go down as the best quarterback ever. Like,
I just feel like yeah, because like what you're saying, Britt's like Patrick Mahomes is one of the best QBs ever. I just feel like Patrick Mahomes is like the one example that I wouldn't use because I feel like Patrick Mahomes, his team is like decent, but like I feel like he really does raise them above, like up and above. But I feel like with the Bengals, I feel like Joe Burrow has like an amazing roster around him, and nobody's like talking about it. Same with Tua, same with Josh Allen,
That's fair.
and like
That's
they're
fair.
not getting that brought up when like
100%.
Jalen Hurts is in like the same situation, if not like it's like the same situation. It's no different than any of those other quarterbacks. You know
the
what I mean?
only reason why I use
It just
Patrick
doesn't make
Mahomes is because he's the guy neck and neck with Jalen in the MVP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so with the idea of Micah and Dallas in mind, let's talk a little bit of the pregame because I do want to try to fit in some Madden ratings if we can. So Dallas, right? So
are we going to assume that Gardner's playing?
Well, that's getting to that point. So what are the keys to winning the game? Let's first assume JALEN. So what are the keys to winning, assuming we have the same team, right? And then just throw in what we might need to change. If Gardner were to start this Saturday, Christmas Eve.
I really don't think you change much. I feel like you change. I feel
Some of
like obviously you can't run the ball like Jalen.
right.
Use the running backs more. Like I think
Yeah.
I think running the ball is gonna be huge in this game, but it's gonna come down to the defense, in my opinion. Because if the
I think
defense
so
can
too.
do what they've been doing all year and just be consistent, get a few sacks, get pressure, we've seen Dak crumble under pressure. I mean, he's going to throw a pick. He's going to make a mistake.
Yes.
I think we can get a strip on him, something like that. Like I think the defense is the most important part, especially if Gardner's playing. Um, but yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think you want to change too much.
I agree. I think the defense gets the win here. Dak's thrown 9 picks in the past 6 games that he's played. He's played 9 games on the year, 17 touchdowns, 11 picks. So he's thrown a lot. If you put him under pressure, he's going to throw a pick. With their defensive line pressure, I think if you stick with the man coverage, don't let Dak pick apart the zone and really get a rhythm. I think that's the way you win this game. I would probably agree with that point, regardless if JALEN or Gardner is in the game. I think you lean heavily on the running game. They're 24th, I think, in yards against the run. They're very good against the pass. Third in allowing passing yards across any other teams. So I think you stick run heavy, regardless if it's Gardner or JALEN. I think you really lean on Miles here. Just tear them apart slowly. Don't allow Micah to have a good game, and just limit him on sacks. Have Lane on him. And yeah, I think you get the win with turnovers here. I think it's a tight game. It was the first time against Cooper Rush. We had 3 picks against them. I think I can easily see us getting 2 picks in this game against Dak. I see it 24-21 Eagles, and that's with Gardner in there. I think this team is even more motivated with what Micah has said, with this potential Jalen Hurts injury. I think they're ready to tear Dallas apart on this Christmas Eve. I think they're motivated more than ever now, especially because of the past couple weeks.
I agree, and it's gonna be a really hard game to win with Gardner Minshew
It's
in
not going to
there.
be easy. It's
And
not going to be easy.
and like obviously I believe in the team, even with him in there. But like you said, I think they're ready. I think they're ready for the challenge, even with Gardner in there.
Yep.
You know who Gardner Minshew reminds me of?
Who?
The guy
The
from Napoleon
goat,
Dynamite.
the goat backup QB. And I'm talking
Nick
pre
Foles.
Nick Foles. I want to see if you guys can get this.
Jeff Garcia.
Pre Nick Foles, goat backup QB for the Eagles.
Jeff Garcia.
Is it Jeff Garcia?
No, even before him. Before him,
Who is it?
Feely?
AJ Feely.
Oh, I got
Oh,
it.
God.
AJ Feely, my guys. But no, there's 2 things I want to bring up here, and I'll give it off to Jackson. One, Lane Johnson, Micah, huge key. Lane Johnson, I think I saw the stat on Instagram from Pro Football Focus. He has not allowed a sack in 27 games.
2 years.
Like
2
that
calendar
to me is
years.
nuts.
It's the record.
Like over 2 years. That's how good this guy is. But that's going to be key because Micah is like he's listed as a linebacker, but they use him all over that defense. They'll use him at end. They'll use him covering a running back. So like when he comes on as an end, he's got to be matched up against Lane 1-on-1. That 2 running game, yes, but I also think we get Goddard back this week.
Oh, yeah,
That's going to be that's going to be huge, especially if they take away the wide receivers, right? So the underneath stuff is going to be there. So Goddard and then also the running backs beating whoever they're matched up on for some of that underneath stuff. 2 keys for the game. We got my prediction 27-17 Eagles with Minshew as a starter.
Wow.
I
10-point
love it.
lead.
I love it.
Okay.
We get Blankenship
Okay,
back
in
too, by the
Dallas.
way, which I
In
can't believe I'm
Dallas.
actually saying this, but I think that's actually a huge thing. Getting
I think
And
that's great.
Kayvon Wallace.
Well,
Yeah, Kayvon Wallace is good at
Blankenship
safety.
was like even PFF was rating Blankenship like really good. Honestly, I don't have much to say. I feel like having Goddard back is going to be huge. I think last game we showed that we can just put Micah on an island and he's not going to have the effect that he normally has on on defense. I think we're going to dominate the Cowboys. I really do. I've I know Mitchell's starting, but I feel like every time this team has an opponent that actually is good and everybody thinks is going to be a challenge, they just dominate them. We absolutely destroyed the Vikings. We absolutely destroyed the Titans. I think this is going to be another one of those games. I think we're going to win like 52 to like 21 or something. honestly, I
Christ.
think 52
Yeah.
to 21. I'm saying an absolute blowout. I think Minshew is just going to be like tossing like 10-yard, 10-yard crossing routes and just cutting up
Are,
this team. I think Miles
are you
Sanders is going to have a huge day. I think Boston Scott's going to have a huge day. I don't know. I'm just calling everybody out. I think Devontae Smith's going to have a huge day. I think AJ Brown's going to have a huge day. I think
so
Minshew's
you're
going to have a
telling
huge day.
me,
I think the whole defense is going to have a huge day.
in
Britton
short, you're
Covey's gonna
telling
have a
me,
huge day.
Interception,
Like, let's
returns
not
for
forget about him.
touchdowns. 52
yeah,
to
okay,
21.
okay.
Cowboys lose to the Eagles on Christmas
So
Eve.
you're telling
Jackson,
me
you drink it
pick
from
up,
the
pick
bottle
up,
or the can?
you're telling me to pick up
Tell you
Minshew
what's going to happen,
Mania
man.
off the waivers to help me get to fantasy playoffs. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah,
Pick them up,
absolutely.
What do you mean get
pick
to?
them in.
We're in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
No, get to the finals.
Oh.
We're
Pick,
gonna lock up the
pick up
division.
and
It's
play
not
'em.
even gonna be close.
At the risk.
R.I.P. Brit.
At the
Oh,
risk.
R.I.P.
man,
Brit.
No. Listen, I'm fine.
he'll be okay.
At
He'll
the
be okay.
risk of sounding like a delusional Eagles fan, for some reason, when I see
feel
Gardner
good.
Minshew stepping into this game, I feel like he's going to have a good game. I feel like he's going to throw for like 300
300
yards.
over
400.
under.
Like
400.
I for some I don't know why this
Not
is
far.
delusional. This is like maybe it's just because I see the team around him is so good, but like I just feel like he's going to have a good game. This could shoot me in the back, and then like the Dallas could come out and like play like sack him a billion times. He just looks scared out there, but like I just don't see that. I can't imagine it happening. I feel like I feel like it almost helps us that we're going into Dallas. We're gonna go in there and take care of business.
And make it our home, to make it our
It's
turf.
like
Yeah, no,
it's
yeah.
weird. It's a weird feeling I have, and I usually don't have this feeling against Dallas because I know how hard it is, especially in the past. It has been to win there, and we basically have lost there, I think, the last 3 years. But I don't know. It's hard to predict the score.
I guess you kind of look at it on the bright side. It's like,
Right.
if we win, we beat the crap out of Dallas, like we
It's
won
almost like
with
it's almost like a
Gardner.
win-win
If we
situation.
if we lose, do people start saying, "Oh, maybe it was Jalen"?
Yeah, obviously you want to win.
I want to win. I want to win. We
Yeah.
need this win. We can win. We can do it.
I'm not really worried about the Jalen comments of like if
I'm
Gardner
not
wins this
either.
game.
I'm not. That stuff just fires me up. It just fires me up more. So,
Right. It's
but
gonna fire Jalen up too. You know it is.
all right, predictions: 52-21 Jackson, 27 17 Harsha, me 24-21. That leaves you, Brits. What are you calling for this game?
I have no idea. Like I guess
I think it's a close one. Jackson does not. Some of us are going to either look really stupid, or all of us, or we're going to look really, really smart.
I can't in my heart of hearts ever predict a Birds loss, especially against Dallas. We're
No.
13-1. So
14-1 after this week. Let's go.
I'm gonna go. We scored 25 this week.
Damn, this is longer than Jonathan Taylor getting ruled out. Damn.
27 to 20. Birds.
Okay.
27 to 20 Birds.
Okay. There you have it, folks. So, Birds victory for Christmas.
Minshew's flying high.
Go Birds.
Best Christmas present of the year.
First gift of Christmas comes this Saturday night. So, all right, Jackson. I can hand it off to you if you want to close us out with some Madden ratings, Madden media. If you want to close out with that.
Some Madden madness. What
Madden
you guys?
Madness, right?
Let's do it.
Thinking, do you guys want to do best of 3, best of 5? What's the deal?
Let's do best of 3.
We'll go best of 3.
Yeah.
Kind of a round 2 rematch from last time.
The most points out of 3.
Okay. First off,
3 players. Yep.
Hassan Reddick.
Ooh. What's he got?
For those of you
11s?
that don't know, they're each gonna get one player. They got to guess the ranking. Whoever guesses close gets a point.
Okay.
Guesses
So
close.
stats for the season: 12 sacks on the year,
Yeah.
4 forced fumbles.
And
Um,
and last time we played, Harsha cheated.
He did.
He won. We all found out later.
Document
He went
that.
off screen and looked up the answers. So fuck you, Harsha.
I'm sorry,
You
I
played
have-
right
So
this time.
don't do that
There's
again.
no
Don't
proof of
cheat.
this. This is all hearsay. What are you talking about?
Have some honor. Have some honor. There's some. This is
We know.
this is America's game. Okay. The
Oh,
Madden
okay,
Madness.
Mr. Fox.
This
Okay,
is
86.
Mr.
America's game. Madden Madness.
Yep.
Don't tarnish the name.
With that, I say an 86.
In 86. Okay.
I feel like it's higher because he's been such a good player.
He's one of the best defensive ends in the league this year. I feel like.
But he's
He is.
been a great defensive end his whole career, really. So it's like,
Well, he was more of an outside linebacker, though, right? And then like
He was
he
drafted as a
converted.
linebacker in the Philly
Yeah.
draft, mind you.
I remember that. Oh, we were there for that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go an even 90.
Even 90.
Even 90.
Okay.
So here's my thing, right? So like Reddick when he was with the Cardinals, right? Kind of a bust, and then he moved over to like an edge rusher, and that's when he really started coming on. So
Yeah.
like I feel like he's on the cusp of like hitting the 90s, but I don't think he's there yet. I think after this year he hits the 90s, so I'm gonna go with an 88 on Reddick.
Okay. Okay.
He just cuts us in the middle every time.
I
Okay.
know, right? We had
No,
Very
that
fair,
was
very
logical.
fair.
Though. That
I
was
think-
logical though.
It is logical.
No, it is logical, and for that reason, Caputi, Harsha, you guys both get a point. It's 87.
87.
the
I was
middle.
gonna say 87. So, all right.
And
All right.
All right, Harsha's got to go
Alright.
first this time.
I feel
Yeah,
like he's
I
like
agree.
rising.
I agree.
I feel like he's rising right now, and he's probably gonna be a 90 next year, right?
That's literally what I
I
was
think that's
thinking.
fair.
I was
I
like,
think
he's
that's
not a
fair,
90
yeah.
yet.
All right. So for this one, we're gonna stick with the defensive, stick on the defensive side of the ball, and go with Kaiser White.
Ooh, fudge. This is a good one.
Could be anything, right?
Really could be anything.
Yeah.
This could be from 70s to 90s.
Yeah. Let's let Harsha throw out his first.
Yeah, Harsha.
So
Harsha
okay,
goes
so
first.
here's where I'm coming from on this. So like when he came over from San Diego, right? Like he wasn't like,
Don't
he
act
wasn't
like
like
you know him.
no.
Nobody knew him.
When I read the free agency signing, right? I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, this guy's like, he's a back. He may be borderline starter backup material, but like, dude, I don't know. Like I feel like he should be higher, and I feel like after this year he'll be higher. But I don't know. This one's tough.
He's been
I'm
starting
gonna
the whole year
go-
for us on defense.
I know, and that's the thing. He should be higher, but like I feel like the Madden people are gonna jip him just because when he came over, he wasn't expected to be this good. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 70. I'm gonna go 77. I
Okay.
might change that to 76. I'm borderline.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
I'm just-
77?
Wait, Brits. I think
They-
Brits think Caputi.
yeah.
Brits think Caputi.
Yeah.
I mean, based on all those same things, I'm going to go 79. I think he had 100 maybe tackles or something crazy last year.
Yeah.
My original thought was 80. I think we might overrate him a little bit, but I think I'm going to go 79.
I want to
Okay.
go higher, but now you guys are making me think lower. Because he is kind of like underlooked guy, and I feel like at Madden is bad at
He's
looking at
not
those
well
guys.
known. Yeah, he's not a well-known name.
What did Harsha say?
76.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 76 on this one.
And what did you say?
just because like when he came over, he wasn't expected
79.
to like. Well, because when he came over, he was like, this guy could be good. We don't know yet, type of thing. He was like an under the radar type of sign.
Yeah, right.
True. I had no idea who he was when he
you
came over.
You guys are swaying me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably lower.
I'm gonna
than
go with
my
like. I'm going with 70. 75.
75. And Harsha, are you going 77 or 76? Did you say?
I'm gonna go 77.
Okay.
You just changed it, you
Yeah.
bitch.
I know. I'm
Right.
in
Oh
between
my
77
gonna be
and 77. I
77.
don't know which
Watch.
one.
It's
I'll go
going to be
75.
70. It's going to be 78 now. Oh my
A
god.
three-way tie now, baby. Fritz again. It's 75 right on the dot.
Oh, let's go.
Let's
Okay,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, and you wanted to go high. All
I
right.
know. You guys,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna go high. You swayed me. You guys swayed me on your logic there.
Oh gosh.
Um,
All right.
All right.
I'll give you guys the choice between the final round, and whichever one you guys don't choose, will be the tiebreak if we have to have one.
Okay.
Jake Elliott or Miles Sanders?
Let's go Miles.
Yeah.
I say none of the above. Gardner Minshew.
Gardner
Ooh, we haven't
Minshew.
done Gardner Minshew.
Let's do
Gardner
Gardner Minshew. Okay.
Minshew.
Okay. Gardner
Alright.
Minshew. Caputi probably looked at Gardner Minshew before this.
No, I
game.
I texted you to do this because I texted you guys earlier. We needed to do this one.
I think in the spirit of this week, we got to do Gardner Minshew.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's like impossible. It could be like a 60.
Yeah, like
It's
because he
it's
hasn't
above
started
60.
for like. When was the last time Minshew started? Like the Jets game?
Yeah.
And before that, he was the starter for the Jags. I feel like for like almost 2 seasons.
I know that's the thing.
He's-
Yeah,
He hasn't had a bad season yet, or a game
78.
yet. I don't know. I said season.
Case closed.
78.
Uh,
Okay.
70.
Nah.
Wait, what'd you say? 78?
He's a good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback. It's true. He started like a lot of games, so it's like
you gotta remember, was Jalen in '84 when we did that?
83.
He was in
83.
'83. Yeah.
That makes
78.
me want to push Minshew down more.
Right now, Jalen is an 85. He's up to an 85.
Oh, he jumped
getting
up.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
79.
79. Okay.
Yes. 79.
Harsha, you go second. What are you thinking?
Do you think
So
Minshew
what,
goes up
you went
because Jalen went up?
79.
No,
So, okay.
I don't know. I
QB
just
room,
like,
don't know.
QB
hold
room
on,
goes up together.
just smart room. It's a smart room.
Dude, historically, I feel like backup QBs have never been rated highly in Madden.
You know what?
Right?
going-
Like,
I'm going
like look,
69. 69. Jordan Minshew is a 69 kind of guy.
Fair.
all right, I'm gonna, you know what? Just because like I feel like we're bigging up Minshew right now, I'm gonna go with a really low. I'm gonna go with a lower rating on this one. I'm gonna go with the 68 on this.
You're gonna
Just because
lowball me.
Are you serious?
Would
Are
you
you
Yeah,
serious?
strike
I
strategy on
honestly,
the 69?
All right, I'm changing my answer. I'm going to 67.
oh God.
Those are your serious. Okay, let's give
Damn,
me the
okay.
give me
You're
the dub
you're
right.
doubling
Give me
You
the-
got to change. I'm
lower.
changing.
Give me the dub.
Alright.
Give me the dub right now. Give me the dub right now. There's no way he's
Alright.
loaded.
All right. Is everybody locked in?
Yeah, I'll lock it in.
Are you locked in, Kabuti?
75.
All right, I'm lowballing harsh, so I'm going 67.
All right. And Gardner Minshew's rating is 67.
Let's go.
That low? He's that low? Oh my
Wow.
God.
God.
Fuck you,
See,
RJ.
that, like,
Yeah.
Madden does that with
Got
backup
low.
quarterbacks.
That's crazy. That's insane.
hell.
I didn't know he was that
Dude, I thought it
low.
was gonna be like
This guy's
7.
over
I
here
thought
playing
it
40
was gonna be
Jets.
like 75, honestly. But
That's
God.
crazy.
They do that to backup quarter. I'm telling you, Madden criminally underrates backup quarterbacks.
There's no reason for him to be at 67.
He-
Talent-wise, it doesn't make sense.
He's at least at
67, dude?
75. My God.
I guess
That's rough.
it's Madden though, so it's like backup QBs. You're not gonna rank them high.
Exactly.
probably-
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're probably like, throw him a random number. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
My God.
who
My
knows?
God. All right. So we're predicting a dub this Saturday. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all. We'll be releasing on this 21st of December tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for everybody being here too. It's nice to get back before the holidays. It's nice to launch and land.
We'll see you
On
guys
this
next. We'll see you guys
fine,
next week
fine-
after Dallas week.
Dallas week.
Merry Christmas,
Dallas week.
everybody.
Merry
We want
Christmas,
you, Micah.
birds.
All right.
Fuck you, Micah.
Peace.